Hello everyone, this is Ryan Schouten with a quick intro on what we're going to be talking about in the SharePoint Framework Jumpstart session, WS503 on August 9th, 2017 at SharePoint Fest Seattle. About a year ago, actually, from the time frame that we'll have this session is when the SharePoint Framework was released into developer preview at the keynote at SharePoint Fest Seattle in 2016. So it's rather fitting that we're going to be going through this again, but we're also going to be talking about adding in some new things, adding in some new parts that have been released into preview for the SharePoint Framework for developers to work with. We've got quite a few things that we're going to be going over. We're going to talk about what the framework is, what we need to know to get started with developing SharePoint Framework client-side web parts and the SharePoint Framework extension, so we can add in functionality. Well, what the SharePoint Framework is in its initial inception. It is a nice, easy way of doing client-side rendering with SharePoint. So instead of having to deal with all the posting everything back to the server and those sort of changes and waiting for that, we get a much faster and much more responsive experience. As part of that, though, there is a new tool set and new skill set even required in order to be effective as a developer in SharePoint anymore. So what we're going to be talking about as well is we're going to be going over what those new tools are. And here we have some different options that we're going to be going over and discussing as part of the workshop. And there are quite a few changes that if you've been previously a SharePoint developer, we've got some new things that we're going to have to deal with new tool sets, new tool chains, a lot of new ways of working with different things. One thing I do have to add at the current point in time is that the SharePoint framework is heavily command prompt based. So get used to it. I know a lot of people are kind of scared of command prompts, but it's something we're just going to have to get used to is due to the tool chains. Now there are some open source community driven tools that add in some templates that automate this into full Visual Studio, so you don't have to get into the command prompt, but still they're going to be operating and issuing those commands for you. So long short of it is we're just going to have to get used to it. Another area that we're going to be talking about pretty well is the area of dealing with ReactJS. This is a library that the Microsoft team has adopted on for doing their development. So it makes sense for us to be able to at least be familiar with what it is and how we can create our client-side web parts with these different pieces of functionality and our SharePoint Framework extensions. Also, as part of this workshop, we're going to be talking about the Office UI Fabric, which allows us to be able to take our code, our web parts, what we're creating, and make it look and behave like SharePoint. We have a lot of cool classes, images, styles, different functionalities, slide in, slide out, fades, modals, all these sort of things that we can add in, and we're going to be going over some of those in this session to be able to see how we can make our web parts look native so it's not such a jarring experience to those that are using our products. Once again, thank you for your time. I look forward to having the opportunity to talk with you at SharePoint Fest in Seattle. If you're in the area, I look forward to talking to you and come look me up. Talk to you later.